Today, we expose 7 Aussie cheese slices your body will not thank you for, because some of the most popular slices in Coles, Woolies, servos and school lunchboxes are closer to a plasticized dairy product than real cheese. Kraft Singles, for example, is officially classified as a processed cheese product, not natural cheese. Stay with this to the end, because after these 7 shockers, you'll see the simple Aussie cheeses that are actually worth putting on your toastie. For years, we've been told cheese slices are a convenient, wholesome shortcut. Calcium for the kids, easy for burgers, perfect for quick sangers. But somewhere between the farm and your fridge, cheese quietly became processed cheese product, ground up, melted, reset, bulked out with water, salts, acids, preservatives, and colors. Even Choice points out there are 2 completely different worlds in that fridge, real sliced cheddar and cheaper processed slices that must legally say processed and can include thickeners, other fats and emulsifiers. So today, we're lifting that plastic film and looking at what you're really melting on your toast. Let's start with number 1, the slice almost every Aussie has eaten. Number 1, Kraft Singles Original. Kraft Singles Original is the bright yellow square most of us grew up with. It's on burgers, in jaffles, in decades of school lunches, and Woolworths still sells it as the perfect melting cheese and a source of calcium. On the surface, it looks like harmless nostalgia, but flip the pack, and the story changes fast. The ingredients list isn't just milk, salt, cultures, rennet, like real cheddar. Kraft Singles Original includes milk, water, milk solids, emulsifiers 331, 339 and 341, butter, salt, food acid 270, preservative 200, and natural color 160B. Larger packs state contains cheese 45% minimum, which means more than half of each slice is everything added around the cheese, not the cheese itself. So what looks like a simple slice is actually reconstituted. Ground cheese blended with water, milk powder, emulsifying salts, acids and preservative, then melted and molded back into those perfect squares. So why is this a problem? Because the label and the marketing suggest cheese. But the process is closer to a manufactured dairy product designed for shelf life and meltability, not food in its natural form. Real cheddar only needs milk, salt, cultures and rennet, then time. Here, you're getting stabilizers to stop oil separating, acids to tweak flavor, preservatives to push the best before date, and colors to keep it that consistent yellow even when the base cheese changes. Think about how it behaves. It doesn't sweat and blister like a proper cheddar under the grill. It just slumps into a shiny, uniform sheet. Smooth, rubbery, almost too perfect. If you've ever peeled off the plastic, smelled almost nothing, and watched it melt into a neon blanket over your burger, you've seen the difference. And if this is what the original slice looks like, wait until you see what happens when they slap a healthier label on it. Number 2. Kraft Singles Light, 25% less fat. Kraft Singles Light screams better choice on the shelf. The pack boasts 25% less fat than Kraft Singles Original, and the same great taste generations of families have come to love. For busy parents trying to do the right thing, that sounds like a win. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. The ingredients list is almost identical to the original. Milk, water, milk solids, mineral salts, 339, 331 and 341, salt, food acid 270, preservatives 200 and 235, butter or cream or milk fat, starter culture, enzymes and colors 160A and 160BB. Again, it contains only about 44% actual cheese, with the rest the same cocktail of emulsifying salts, acids, preservatives and added colors. Choice notes, this processed slice category is cheaper to make because manufacturers can blend in extra fats and thickeners and still call it cheese as long as they label it processed. So, what does light really mean here? Less fat, yes, But that often means proportionally more of everything else. More processing, more sodium, more reliance on emulsifiers to keep a low-fat, high-water product looking like cheese. Per slice, you still only get around 4 grams of protein and 160 kJ, which isn't impressive for something marketed as a dairy staple. On the surface, the label suggests a smarter, lighter option. Underneath, it's the same ultra-processed structure in a slightly leaner suit. If you've ever grabbed the light version thinking you were upgrading your family's sandwiches, you're not alone. But what you've mostly changed is the ratio of fat to fillers, not the underlying quality of the cheese. And if the healthier option still looks like this, what about the massive, budget-friendly packs most Aussies toss into the trolley without a second thought? Number 3. Coles Dairy Cheese Slices Processed Light. Coles' own brand processed slices are designed for one thing: value. Big pack, low price, easy to stack into sandwiches all week. The product name itself has to admit what it is. Processed dairy cheese slices, light. But what does that actually mean for what's inside? Food standards and industry definitions describe processed cheddar as cheese that's been ground, mixed, melted and emulsified with added salts and other dairy ingredients, rather than simply being cut from a block. Choice explains that processed slices are a cheaper food product that may include thickeners, other fats and emulsifiers, and must clearly state "processed" on the label. In other words, you're not buying thin slices of a natural cheese block. You're buying a reconstructed product made by melting cheese with water, dairy powders, emulsifying salts and preservatives into a uniform paste, then resetting it into slices. So, why does this matter? Because a lot of shoppers assume light means lighter, but still basically real cheese. In reality, these slices sit firmly in that processed category where texture, melt and cost are engineered first, and traditional cheesemaking comes a distant second. The label implies simplicity and portion control. The standards behind the scenes tell a very different story. If you've ever bought the giant Coles light pack thinking it's just thinner cheddar and fewer kilojoules, this is the wake-up call. And if house brand processed slices look murky, wait until you see what's hiding in their biggest rival's version. Number 4. Woolworths processed cheese slices, smoky and burger style. Woolworths processed cheese slices look made for Friday burger night. They're sold as processed cheese slices smoky, perfect for melting, and sit right next to the real cheddar slices in the fridge. The branding leans on flavor and convenience. The label quietly mentions something else. These slices are explicitly labeled processed cheese slices, and Woolworths commonly discloses origin statements such as "made in Australia from at least X% Australian ingredients" on similar private label processed cheeses. That means a significant chunk of what's in that pack can be imported ingredients, blended together into a generic product that still carries the Woolies name. Given what food standards and choice say about processed slices, ground cheese melted with salts, water, possible other fats and emulsifiers, you're looking at another engineered slice, not traditional cheddar. On the surface, the smoky flavor and convenient wrap make it feel like a fun upgrade for burgers. Underneath, you've got a low traceability, highly standardized product designed to behave the same on every grill, no matter where the base ingredients came from. Many shoppers grab it thinking Woolies brand, Aussie supermarket must be local and simple. Indeed, the origin statements alone raise questions about how far from the farm this slice really is. If you've ever watched these slices melt into a perfectly uniform orange curtain over a patty and thought, "That doesn't look like my block cheddar at home," your instincts were right. And if supermarket brands are blending in this much processing, what about the slices being pumped into cafes and takeaways across the country? Number 5. Bega super slices and sandwich sliced processed cheese. Bega is one of the most trusted names in Australian dairy, and the company proudly talks about quality milk from sustainable farms in the Bega Valley and a long Aussie history. So when you see Bega super slices or Bega sandwich slice cheese on a burger, it's easy to assume it's just thin slabs of their famous Tasty or Colby. But some of these are a very specific type of product. Processed cheese slices, formulated for consistency rather than tradition. Bega's own descriptions for these ranges highlight processed cheese slices designed for consistent flavor, melt and texture, ideal for sandwiches and burgers in both retail and food service channels. In these products, only a portion of each slice is actual cheese, with the balance made up of added ingredients similar to other processed slices. Water, dairy solids, emulsifying salts, acidity regulators, preservative and color. That means you're no longer dealing with a simple slice of cheddar. You're dealing with a blended, emulsified, preserved cheese product tuned for industrial consistency. The label promises creamy and perfect for melting, and food service suppliers rave about how fast it melts and how uniform it looks. But that's exactly the point. This slice is optimized for speed and appearance on a grill line, not for being the purest form of dairy you can get. Many Aussies have eaten these in café toasties and fast food burgers without realizing they're a processed variant, not Bega's natural cheddar. If you thought choosing a good Aussie brand automatically meant real cheese on your burger, this is where the illusion cracks. And if processed slices can ride on the reputation of a trusted name, what happens when the pack flat out uses the word cheddar in the title? Number 6, Kraft cheddar slices. Kraft cheddar slices sound like the step up. The name cheddar implies tradition. The branding leans into that classic grown-up cheese flavor. But zoom in on the ingredients and you'll see the same pattern. The product contains cheddar cheese at just under half of the total slice, made from milk, salt, starter culture and enzymes. Then come the extras: water, milk solids, butter, mineral salts like 339 and 331, food acid 270, salt, preservative 200, gelling agent 401, and natural color 160B. So just under half the slice is actual cheddar. The rest is added water, dairy powders, emulsifying salts, acid, preservative and texture agents to make everything melt and stretch on cue. So if this is cheddar, why does it need a gelling agent and emulsifying salts? Because it isn't simply thin sliced from a wheel. It's cheddar that's been taken apart and rebuilt into a product that behaves exactly the same in every sandwich press, no matter what batch of cheese went in. The label suggests you're getting a more authentic, stronger cheese. The ingredient list tells you it's still sitting squarely in the processed category. If you've ever bought these for grown-up toasties thinking they were the classy alternative to singles, you've basically paid extra for a slightly more cheddar-heavy processed slice. And if almost half the product is still additives and water, what does a cheesy budget megapack look like when it's pushed to supermarket scale? Number 7, Coles Simply Sandwich Slices, 84-pack 1 kg. Coles Simply Sandwich Slices are the definition of chuck it in the trolley. 84 slices, 1 kilogram, ready to fill lunches for what feels like weeks. The name sounds gentle and harmless. Simply sandwich. But behind that is a very deliberate piece of engineering. Coles discloses that these slices are mostly cheddar cheese, with the balance including water, milk solids, butter and other functional ingredients, plus a sodium load that's high for something people stack into multiple slices per sandwich. Choice notes that once you move beyond the 4 basics of real cheddar, milk, salt, cultures and rennet, and start adding water, milk solids and other functional ingredients, you're in processed territory rather than simple sliced block cheese. So why does this matter if it's still mostly cheddar? Because that extra water and rebalancing of milk solids, fat and salt are exactly how manufacturers turn cheese offcuts and variable batches into a perfectly uniform sandwich slice that behaves the same every time. The branding suggests simplicity and value. The formulation suggests a product optimized for cost, shelf life, and texture over traditional cheesemaking. If you've ever looked at that massive 1 kilo brick of slices and thought, bargain, problem solved for the kids' lunches, you're staring at the epitome of engineered convenience. And when you line all 7 of these products up, you start to see the real issue. This isn't just about one bad brand, it's a pattern. What the pattern really shows, across big names and house brands, the same themes keep appearing. Cheese content as low as around 44–49%, with the rest made up of water, milk solids, emulsifying salts like 331 and 339, food acid 270, preservatives such as 200 and 235, and colors 160A or 160B. Food regulators and technical definitions describe processed cheese as ground, mixed, melted and emulsified cheese with added salts and optional ingredients, not just sliced blocks. Choice flat out warns that processed slices are a cheaper category that may contain thickeners, other fats and emulsifiers, and must be labeled as processed on the front. On the surface, the labels lean on words like light, smoky, cheddar, super, simply sandwich. Underneath, you're getting the same ultra-standardized, ultra-processed slice in slightly different costumes. If you've ever felt like modern cheese slices taste bland, rubbery, or strangely identical across brands, this is why. They're designed in the factory first and only then dressed up as food. So what do you do if you actually want real cheese on your sandwich? Now for the Aussie options that are actually worth your time, now that we've torn through the worst offenders, let's look at the slices that still respect the basics. Simple ingredients, real cheese making, no unnecessary extras. First, supermarket natural cheddar slices. Woolworths, tasty cheese slices, for example, list just 4 ingredients: pasteurized milk, salt, starter culture and non-animal rennet. Exactly what Choice points to as the hallmark of real cheddar. These slices are essentially a block of aged cheddar pre-cut for you, not reconstructed processed cheese. Choice found that unprocessed cheddar slices are on average about 26% protein, and a single slice can give you roughly 19% of your daily calcium needs, the same nutritional profile as a decent block of cheese. Second, natural sliced ranges from real cheese brands. Bega's range includes 100% natural Colby and tasty cheddar slices made from Australian milk with the same core ingredients as their blocks: milk, salt, cultures, rennet, and no mention of emulsifying salts or preservatives in those natural lines. They also offer reduced fat and lactose-free natural cheddar options, again built on real cheese rather than processed blends. If you want the convenience of slices without stepping into processed territory, these are the lines to look for, not the processed cheese or super slices variants. Third, real cheese snacks for kids. Products like Bega stringers are marketed as being made from natural cheese, with no artificial colors or flavors and no added preservatives, and can be peeled into strings for fun. They're still a processed food in the broad sense, but they're far closer to a genuine cheese stick than an ultra-engineered slice. If your kids are used to singles in their lunchbox, swapping to natural slices or real cheese sticks is one of the easiest upgrades you can make. The pattern is simple. Look for ingredient lists that read like cheese, not like chemistry. Milk, salt, cultures, rennet. The more extra lines you see, water, milk solids, emulsifying salts, acids, preservatives, colors, the more that product has been taken apart and put back together in a way that serves factories first and your body second. Your plate, your call. Australian food culture drifted from real food to engineered convenience, one small shortcut at a time. A slice here, a spread there, a light or simply label that made it sound like an upgrade instead of a trade down. But every time you choose a real cheese slice over a processed one, you're quietly voting for proper farming, proper cheese making, and fewer additives on your plate. The next time you're in Coles or Woolies, flip the pack over. If the word processed is on the front and a long chemistry set is on the back, put it back. Reach for the slices that list just milk, salt, cultures and rennet, or grab a block of natural cheddar and slice it yourself. That one small habit protects your toasties, your burgers, and your kids' lunchboxes from becoming just another outlet for ultra-processed dairy. If this pulled back the curtain on what's really in those shiny plastic squares, tap like so more Aussies see it before their next shop. Subscribe if you want deep dive breakdowns like this on the foods you buy every week, the stuff that actually ends up on your family's plates. And tell us in the comments, which cheese slice shocked you the most, and which real cheese are you switching to from today?